Okay, so today the artist name is Zuo Ren. I think uh, this name a lot people actually didn't hear a lot, but in Southeast Asia, right? I think a lot of people actually heard the name, from him. So he same thing how he also born in Anhui province, right? So his hometown, right, is actually the place that making the rice paper. So um, uh, it's actually, if you look at the history, a lot of Chinese painter was born in a similar place, Anhui or Jiangsu, I think those place in China. Right? So he was born in 1908, passed away in 1997, 89 years old. He's a similar um, um, time with Xu Beihong, right? So as we learn from the earlier class, Xu Beihong, right? He traveled to France, learn Western arts, right? He also do the same, right? He's actually another version of Xu Beihong, you see. But later when we look at his painting, right, we'll see the difference. Um, he's very good at oil painting, right? And he also received even the awards from the Belgium, the Emperor of Belgium, and also the France, the Ministry of Culture. Right? So, but when he actually getting older, right, was actually when he was in his 60 something, right, he changed back to Chinese painting, right? So if you look at a lot Chinese artists, younger days, they might do a lot of Western paintings. When they're getting older, right, they all switch back to Chinese painting. Right? I think one thing is because you know the Western painting, right, is kind of heavy in terms of how you paint, right, especially for oil painting. But Chinese painting is much more lighter weight, and also the things you can express with the Chinese painting is much more richer than what you can do in oil painting, right? So let's look at his painting. This okay. So his signature, right, for Chinese painting is this one is the camel, right? And also there's another one is the yak. That's actually in the Tibet area. This one in the Xinjiang areas of China. So if we look at his painting, right? His painting, if we compare his painting with the Xu Beihong's painting, right? It doesn't have a lot of Western elements inside it. It's a pure ink and pure Chinese ink and color. There's no Western, more like the light and shadow, right? Not much. But if you look at the perspective, right, he actually do more like the perspective, is actually you look the camel in the front is bigger, the ones behind is smaller. So here's some of his oil painting of younger days. Very good ones. He also painted another one for Shibashi. Now another thing he's very good at is the goldfish painting. If you look at this goldfish, there's no clear shading. I mean, the highlights and shadow on the fish, but it's more just ink, right? Different shades of the black ink. Right, another camel, another goldfish. So if you look at the stroke he used inside the painting, right, especially for the red goldfish you see now, right, it's very simple. He separate the head, even didn't lay down the lighter ink. under the head, right? It's just the head, connect the head with the ink body. And the far away is actually the lotus and leaf. Here's another one. You can see more details in there. Again, right, the perspective, right, is not the traditional one. It's still like a little bit Western style. All the ink here, you can see the bigger stroke at the same time. Because at the same time, he is younger than Qi Baishi, right? But he's similar age as the Xu Hong, right? So, the things when they work on, at the time, these new styles that use the traditional, right, and combine with some certain Western painting elements. But for him, it's more on the perspective, right? Composition-wise, you can still see there is the S shape in the painting. There's not much changes to the composition. See the small flower, goldfish. He liked to paint a lot of goldfish. Yeah. He also liked to paint panda and bamboo, right? For this painting, you might see how it's like how come the panda is smudging so much, right? Even the bamboo also smudging. Yeah, this is the portraits. We did the oil portraits for Qi Baishi. This is the Qi Baishi. Another bamboo. This one didn't smudging. You can see actually he painted even the mouth of the panda. To the lighter, a little bit of lighter shadow. Now this is another camel. Those type, right, was actually he painted this. It was actually the Chinese government. He actually go build Xinjiang, right? So they sent a lot of army to Xinjiang to help to the local to build. So camel was used as a transportation. This one very cute. It's mother panda and a baby panda holding. It's very simple. You see, nothing, no grass, no bamboo. Just a very simple one. This one we can paint this one later. Another goldfish. Another panda. So the top one was also written by him. He's also very good at writing certain. The top we say it's a Zhuan style, Zhuan Shu. This one is the black swan. You see the lighter and the darker. His perspective is still very Western white. Bigger ones in the front and smaller ones behind. This one is another his signature, or also called special, is doing the yak. So the things inside the painting, you can see it's using very, very simple stroke. Later on, when we have another class, the portrait one for Fang, you might see the influence from him to Fang. Of course, Fang's painting is more complex than his painting, but his way to simplify the things in the painting is something very special. You see the eyes, and you do very black dots, and then the rest, is just using the ink, no colors. The similar painting, he paint another one. many. This one, the title of the painting is called Qi Fen Jin, right? That means everybody goes forward, right? Like you are running forward. This one is 双毛齐进. That means the two yak, right, was actually walking to the front. If you look at his painting, right, he a lot of times he's using the technique we say is the we call dark brick light. That means when you're painting, right, you apply the lighter ink below, right? Then on top, you can have darker ink, right, to smudge on top of the lighter ink. And this is panda, very cute, eating the bamboo, very simple stroke inside. Okay, another one. So this one is two pandas. The bamboo he paint very far behind, a very short one. So it's still representing the modern perspective. Now this is the eagle he painted. The title is 展翅. If you look at a lot of his paintings, he like to use the drawing style to write the title of the painting instead of doing the Xingtao style. But in this painting, right, if you look at the whole picture, right, it's very, the perspective, right, it's very modern, very realistic type of perspective. But again, the eagle on top, right, is, I mean, the wings. Although this is a Chinese painting, if you look, you might feel a little bit like a Western painting inside, but the thing, especially how he done the wings connecting to the body, all those parts. Another panda. This one later you want to try this one also. Okay. On the stone. But you might see, how come all the bamboo leaves are down there, right? Are all smudging. Most of it is because the water inside is not, and also he did also you see this part of the face, right? How come it's so thick than the other part? See on the right hand side, this stroke is too heavy, right? And on the left hand side, it's not so heavy. Now, if you're thinking about all those questions, right? Because his painting, we say it's more like big city, right? Basically, you are using very simple stroke, and also using the different shades of the ink and a very rough color to show the certain scenery, right? So actually, those small details he doesn't care a lot, right? Especially you see here, right? From here, right? You see the head. This stroke. When he writing, he painting the head, the outline of the head first, right? Then he apply the black ink on top. That's why the black ink is smudging on the head, the outline of the head. That's the part. Those parts are when you painting big shade are very important, right? Is you need to get some used rice paper or some newspaper even, is to stop the smudging very frequently. Basically, you do this paint and dry, paint and dry. You cannot do the same like small shade. Okay, another goldfish painting, another eagle painting. This one, if you look at the down there, it look like a watercolor of the mountains and skies. Yeah. Now this is cream painting, very good. Capture the posture of the print very nicely. Another one. This one is another eagle. You might think this eagle, how come very funny? The eyes are kind of black. Sorry, the yellow circle with the black dots inside. That's actually when I mentioned just now. It's similar age as time with the Qi Shi. You recall the one we learned last time, the Wang Xuetao, right? He painting the birds, all the birds' eyes look like that. The yellow circle with the dots. But the eagle, right? If you look at the eyes, they do have a little brown and yellow color, right? So that's all his painting, right? But you can actually go online, Google a lot of other his painting. At the beginning, I mentioned a lot of Southeast Asia artists knows him, right? It's because personally, I see a lot of even local painter, right, are copying his paintings. Some even copy and go sell the painting, which personally I think is not correct. If you're copying some masters, right, you cannot claim that's false. But I think one reason that a lot of people copy his painting is because his painting is very simple in a way that is easier to copy, but it still shows the Chinese painting, the big CE how to use the ink and the so you don't see a lot of people copy Xuetao's painting because Xuetao's painting is more complex. Okay, all right. So any questions regarding the Zuo Ren? 没有. So also no questions?
No, I'm fine. Thanks.
Yeah. Right. So now we can practice its painting. So we are going to do is this panda today. The mother and the baby panda. It's this one. In Chinese painting, a lot of times, right, the things we look at very simple one. When you paint that, you might change your idea. The simpler one, difficult to paint. The structure is simpler, right? That requires your stroke to be more accurate to show the. Okay. So we can have the medium and big brush, medium and big size. Right, so we can have some ink. The first thing we can use the medium brush, right, to create some lighter ink. A little ink, right? Then take some water. Now let's get lighter ink first. For his way, for the panda, right, it does not start with a dark ink. It starts with a lighter ink. And also that's why we prepare two brushes, right? One lighter ink, one darker ink. Okay, so let's take the first you see is actually getting the outline of the mother panda, which means you see it's starting from the left, going up, and then coming to the right, and just coming down directly. So you a bit more. Now, instead of getting the whole black one inside first, it's more mostly, right, you will need to actually doing the lighter one first. You can get a little, you see, coming down the face of the mother panda. You get the head first. And then we come back on to get the black ink. I use the bigger brush. Now this time we come with the black ink. Now when painting the ears, we go one to the left, so coming down, way up. Same like the plum petal before. On the right hand side, this one needs to coming in. This needs to come into the head because the ear, right, is actually, so you need to actually go in right? And then you can the ears and okay. Right now we come to the nose, right? So from here, we're hitting the nose here. Nose. And on this side, here's this side coming down, stroke for the eyes, and coming up a little, right? There is a lighter stroke. If you look at this one, there's a lighter stroke. This one need to be added later. I cannot do right now. Then you come to the right hand side. You see, one thing is this side of the nose aligned with this eyes, right? This side of the nose aligned with this side. And coming down. So the panda's eyes look a little bit sad because it's actually coming down like that. Then come back. Right. So this is actually the normal way we do panda, right? So after that, right, you can use your lighter ink, right? Come back to this side, come down a little, give a smaller stroke. Now again, right, for the bottom of the panda, right? So the baby panda, how we can actually get the outline down here, right? From here coming up, again, right, from here the head coming down. You see, then this one is using the black parts on for the mother's arm, right, to outline the baby little panda's face, right? So when we just do an outline like that, that's fine. Right? If you want a little more, right, you can actually come down here, right, to add the nose, the lines on the nose, right? So you can have one smaller stroke here, right, for the nose, and then we come back up the ears, right? So coming left and right. Now, of course, he has another ear on that side, but normally we don't because it's later gonna be by the mother's arms. So here below, we put the nose. It might smudge a little bit, but that's actually fine. And on this side, we can do the eyes, one eye. And this side, the same alignments go up and coming down. And get the other eyes there. Now after that, right, our ink brush, we need to actually weten because if you see here, we cannot get everything very black. So what we do, right, is put in the water bucket. So now I wash my brush. Now for big CD, right, although we don't focus a lot on details, but the technique wise is actually important. That means how you take your ink, how you take your now for after we wash our brush, the brush is in lighter ink, right? If before you add in the darker ink on the tape, there's one step that is very important is actually you need to squeeze off the ink on the tape of the brush. Why? Because if you don't squeeze off, right, the tape contains a lot of water, and then when you're taking the ink, right, it's gonna smudge a lot on the tip of the brush. But for the tip of the brush, we don't want so smudging, right? So you can take the black ink now, and after you squeeze the tip of the brush. Right now, we come back for the arms, right? For this part, for basically very important, right? As I mentioned just now, prepare a piece of used rice paper or newspaper or tissue paper, right? You must stop the smudging immediately when you do it. Right. So here, right, when we come down, I see when I go one stroke coming down, stop the smudging immediately. Don't wait until it's smudging the whole thing. So and then from here, right, you can actually use press down your brush, right, slowly going to the outside, coming down. Now we come back for the front. Same thing. See from here, coming down, right, and then coming back. You see, this one even as press, it will still smudge a little bit, but that's actually fine. But if you don't press, don't use the dry paper, it's gonna go in now. Right, and then from here, the panda, the arm like that, so come down a little. Use bottom the brush and slowly to get the thing connected. Right. So of course, right now we can switch back up to the lighter ink. Right now we come to the side right here. It will come down. Come down. Get the leg. Right. Again from here right now. Going this way left. Right. He actually didn't paint the so-called the foot of the panda. It's more like the foot is actually going up. See that? This is actually coming out, so the elbow was on the foot. So go this way and turn back. The foot has to be lighter in there, so we leave a gap here. The timing also in big CAE, right, when you're using the raw one, important. Don't do immediately. It will not be good. So now we come back to the smaller panda. Smaller panda, the arms and the mother one needs to be a little different, right? So you can actually wash your brush a little bit. Right, we have a little bit lighter in, right? Then from here, we're adding the too light, right? We add a little more for the little panda, the arm. And again, for the back, come this way, coming down. The back, okay. You see now, this one already eating my small panda on the face. So that means when you press on, you're painting, need to take notes on the smudging parts. Now come back to the other arms, coming in down this way. The arms of the panda, right? Sometimes you can go the same direction like that. Or if you want to have the claw, you know, the hand in front. Okay, all right. Then the other leg come from here. Right? So coming down this way, and then your brush to the front, coming back. Add the other leg. And now you can wash the brush. Most of the time, right, if you want, right, all these steps when you're painting, you can just press a little bit. So I don't want it to completely stop smudging, but I want at least it's not smudging so badly because the raw rice paper do have this thing you need to control, right? Then we come back to the tail of the panda. This one is using lighter ink, right? Tail of the panda, right? When you do you can use a big dry brush, and then you like roughly doing a circular motion on the paper to get, you see, rotating your brush, you will get the tail of the pen. And the last steps, right, is put the part, right, for this part, I put the lighter ink under. This one also a little bit lighter ink under the leg. Good. Good. So this one, when we having panda class, it used to be some classmates are, can I draw this one first and then I do the head first? Sorry, can I draw the face first, then I do the head? Also can, you can. But when you do the shape first, right, the good thing is actually you are getting more control on later on where the eyes goes, right, this part. But if you want, you can do that. You can do the eyes first. But when you look at a real photo, right? So if you are painting a panda using Zuo Ren's method, right, to paint a real according to a real photo, right? You need to understand the correct steps to paint. When you're getting the shape, the outline first, right, you are actually getting a more accurate shape first before you add into the detail. So if you do this one first, or sometimes then the panda could be bigger than we thought or smaller than we thought. Good. Good. Very good. All right, so you see the technique wise, right? For the raw rice paper, right? If you don't stop the smudging, it's actually going to smudging a lot on the place. So even the face we did just now, it disappeared on only half of the face. But this type of smudging is, we cannot say it's completely wrong. If you look at this painting right now, if it's smudging in, it's also fine. That means how the face built inside smudging. But what kind of smudging is not fine, right? Is that, let's say the eyes are smudges so that it connect to the nose, all those parts cannot. So that's why in the big Xi painting right now, how you control the ink and the water in the brush is very important, and also the timing. The timing meaning, right? You see, just now we're painting the arms here, right? So after that, we paint the smaller pandas out. All these, right? You need to actually consider the timing. When you're gonna do it, right? Right. We have another panda painting. This one on the rock. Zuo Ren, right, actually paint a few similar paintings like this one. They paint the ones also flipping panda on the other side. Things like that. You can also try this panda. Right, then let's give it a try, right? So Zuo Ren is Western painting. They paint quite a lot of complex things. His Chinese painting, he paint a lot of not so complex. Okay, so the first one right now, we can do the head, the circle, right? Now let's see how you want to try. We do the eyes first. Can now then if you want to do the eyes first, the face first, right? Then do the outline. Let's do that. So we can take a bigger brush, come with the ink, right? Let's do the eyes first. So left, going up and then down, and then coming back. The panda, the eyes are here. The important thing this is a curve going down, going inside, not straight shape. Then the other side, on this side, coming a little bit, right, coming down, and then going back. Of course, this smudging parts in this painting, we're not going to do that. I can do a smaller one. Of course, here, right, you want to switch the light you can. You don't want to, right? You can just use dark pink to give a line there, right? And then in the front, having the nose. And then now you need to switch to lighter ink because the mouse and the head you need to go lighter. So mouse here right, is actually going a little, not smiling, but something like that. And then on the other parts, you can draw this part, or you draw the top one also can, starting on the top. So from here, right, the panda, right, the head is not a round shape. It's actually narrow on top, wider at the bottom. So it can come this way. So coming down a little bit, right? On this side, from here, coming down on the left hand side. Right. Then on top, right, we do the ears, left, right. Yeah. Right. Then on this side also, I think down here. Yeah. I think that right. And then from there, on this side, coming down the body. Here's one thing, when you do panda, you always have these two lines. That means one and this here, right, the head, right, then the other one. And another thing is actually the black. You see the leg is black. This black, right, will go through the back, connect the two arms. Right? So that means that if you look top down, right, on the panda's back, it's actually a black stripe connecting the two legs in front. Right, again, right, taking the dark pink. So we go back for the leg, right? So you can do like this, take down, down, down to get and then you press down the whole brush and go this way. Same thing, he's using the panda's arm. And then that. And later, he do the rocks. The other side also this way. 1, 2, 3. Coming back the other way. Now from here, right, we actually use the darkening to do some outline of the rock. Coming down rough lines. And forget the rock shape. Then have the lighter ink, right? From here, go to the body, come down. And then from here, again, reverse your brush. Get a bit lighter at the bottom one. For the rock, right, don't need to be very thin. You can use a little bit rough stroke. Rough stroke, right? The bamboo, you can do first. If you want to color the stone and later do the bamboo, it will happen like this. That means the bamboo are gonna smudge. If you do when the lowest light is white. So what we can do is actually we can do first, then you do the color. See, 1 bamboo stick, 2, 3, down, right? This one we can use the technique. Also we do 1, 2, 3, 1 set, right? Another set, 1, 2, right? Come another set, bigger one, smaller one. They can still come in at a little lighter one. Now, of course, this is the advanced way we learn from bamboo painting. If you want to do a simple one, don't want to do this type of combination, you can do more like getting some branches, right? Then just adding the leaf on there. Smaller one. Of course, here, right under that is another branches. Left, right, smaller. Remember, inside still need to have some branches. Now, timing. Another thing is when you do the lighter leaf. You see, if I do now, I do lighter leaf. My brush is still dry. I cannot have lighter ink, a very white brush, because what happens is your lighter ink, right, it goes over the darker ink. You might see here, right? You see if I go over, this will also smudging the black ink. And so what you can do for here for the lighter, right, you can wait a little bit, or you can dry the ink layer first, right? Then you come back with the lighter ink. Another thing is try to avoid a lot of overlapping of your lighter ink and darker ink. Try to avoid more overlapping. From here coming down, some more smaller one. Remember behind. And then, right after all these, you need to come back to do the coloring. But not normally for this part, you see just now this part I use lighter to smudge over the darker. It will also smudge. The better way, right? Control, you can use some rice paper to dry, tissue paper to dry a little bit, right? And then we color the whole thing with the brown color. Number 14, 就是 number 14. The brown color in Chinese painting, especially when you're painting this type of stone, usually we will mix with a little ink. So not going just for very pure color. Pure color is gonna be very bright for brown. But of course, if you're buying let's say there are 18 colors, 24 colors, 32 colors, right? On Chinese paints, those they have like a pure top, okay, those type of brown. You can also use similar like this effect. Take some brown. So the brown color takes brown. And as I mentioned, we cannot have pure brown. So we can take a little ink into the brown. And then you are taking a color like this type of color, whole brush. Right. And then you come back to color still too dark. All right, when you're coloring, take notes. The color you saw right now versus the one that's dry, because of the water in the brush, it's gonna be a little difference. So when I color like this, later once it's dry, it will be lighter, not so dark as the water. But you need to look at the ink we did just now. You see now it starts to smudging. If I don't control it, right, it will smudge continue at the end will be something like this. So what you can do, right, you can stop a little bit. Or another thing, right, actually what you can do, right, is actually you need to wait until your bamboos are dry, then apply the color. So, but of course they are masters. So if you look at a lot of Tibet's painting, also have the similar issue, the smudging inside the painting, but they don't consider that mistake. They will more just be part of the Chinese ink color. Okay, good. That's also good. The panda of the Esther. 随便的，来个好，比较多东西画好。图纸图纸等一下我们再练习一遍啊。Okay. 好，so which one you like? The second one, the first one?
I like the second one.
Oh yeah. Ashley also like the second one. Now this one, of course, is I think we no need to practice, but this is somehow in Chinese painting, not many painters paint this one, especially for tradition, like those before the new China. Right? They don't have because this one only in Tibet. It doesn't come into inland China, so not many people paint this type of thing. So, but the stroke is very simple too. And see how he leave the white for the face. You can, if you like. Another thing I would suggest, right, if you outline, right, you want to paint more, right, is this the camel. You can see the stroke. Now nowadays, right, our rice paper is not as good as before. Before, right, you see this rice paper, you can actually see very clear their stroke, how they do the body. There's no blending, no second round coloring. That's because of the rice paper. Nowadays, our rice paper, you see this one we did, not showing so clear like before. Still shows, but not as good as before. Right. So you can try the camel also. Now, I still mentioned just now about the bamboo, right? So let's paint the bamboo. This one, the bamboo, it's a branch. It's a branch of the bamboo. So they also painted, like this type of bamboo, with a bamboo stick with the leaf on top. But I would say he's not an expert in the bamboo painting, but the way he making the bamboo matches his panda. And I can't say he can't do the nice bamboo. You can't say that, but he definitely do the bamboo according. So if you do two very nice bamboo like the one we did, it will not match the panda. So, but the bamboo branch, just now this one, the one branches of bamboo, this one, how we do it. I think I'm gonna explain a little bit on the bamboo. The normal bamboo we saw, every day in Singapore also matters. If you look at the branches, the branches go this way. So we make one, bamboo stick, 2, 3, something. Right, then from there, right, now, this is smaller bamboo branches, right? Then from there, right, you are splitting. That means you have one branches. See on this side, I have another branches. And then your leaf, right, goes like this. So on this side, the smaller branches, you're gonna have smaller leaf, bigger leaf, bigger leaf. Then in the front, so it's all like this. On this side also, smaller, bigger, and coming down, right? On this side also smaller, bigger. So one single branch of bamboo, right, is basically, if I take one of that out, right, it will be in this left, sorry, right, left. So one bamboo branch will be something like this. I'll show you some real photos. If you look at this one, this is how the bamboo leaf grows. So it's actually not 4 or 3, you know, when we're painting the bamboo leaf, we go 4, 3. This one, yes, in the front it's 4, 3, but it's actually left and right now. So when this type of leaf, right, when we look at, say for example, I take the branch, and then I take it out, pointing the leaf to me, it will be similar like this one. Then you're gonna see the pattern we did before for bamboo leaf, right? For bamboo is, you see, the normal one we do 3, so 1, then you have 2, you have 3, sometimes you might have 4 right on the side. That's because you are turning these branches to the front. And then you see, you turn this branch to the front, right? You're gonna see this 1, 2, 3, 4, pointing to the forward, right? It becomes something like this type of, yeah. So that's why in the painting we usually get something like that. But in the one single branch painting, a lot of times we might not need to have something like this. This is more like you're painting a bamboo stick. The leaves are growing surrounding the bamboo stick. So when you do single one, you don't need to do this, but instead we are doing the branch like that, just like what he did in this panda painting. Right. So you can see here, right? You have one bamboo branch coming down, right? Then he's gonna split into multiple smaller branches like this. So when you do like that, you go from right, so 1, 2, 3, and from the tip one can go a little smaller one. And then from the notch, you're splitting the branches on this side, right? Then now what you can do, just simply adding the leaf according to the pattern, right? That means you have left, right, left in the center, right? Then you do another one, let's say behind here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So what happens in his finger, right? We're dropping down more, right? Then let's say from these branches, we have another one. So coming down, right? When you come down, right? See, you're gonna have a lot overlapping. That means the bamboo leaf are overlapping each other, right? Then you kind of have something like this, right? And then some more. And add a little smaller for the leaf behind, of course, like this. Now for bamboo painting, there's also another way. This is one way. Another way we use mostly in the advanced type of painting. That's actually don't need to have a pattern like this. It's more like this way. So we are doing more like a pattern. You go this way, huh? So one leaf, then one cross, and then you do a smaller one, one, two. This four stroke, this four stroke is considered one set, right? So you can do another set. The initial stroke, you see this one is this one, one, two, one, two. This is one set. Then the second set, the initial stroke cannot go in parallel. It needs to be a little angle. That means like coming down this way. You see this one, then this one. Then the second set it goes one, two. Same, one, two. Similar things are when you move on to the rest, you need to wash your brush a little bit. Have a little bit lighter ink on the brush. I go back to next one. Do another set. One, two, one, two. Now another set on the other side also. One, two, one, two. Now here, right, it still doesn't look like a branch. So what we do now, right, is actually taking a little darker ink, right? So from here behind, we can add the bamboo stick, right? Inside here, very important is you need to add smaller leaf to actually add into the whole full set. Let's say from here, get one, two, smaller one behind, smaller one in between, right? Doing like that, right? And then you're gonna connect them back. So you connect them back to the branches, right? So from here, you can also have some more smaller leaf. Right. So normally after you paint something like this, this is one branch of the bamboo leaf, the bamboo branch. So the whole thing we separating. If we look at how we consider this as a one set, one set is like by two, by four stroke, right? Then you're gonna have on the left, you're gonna have one set, right, one set, top, one set. So you have four sets, right? So this is one, two, three, four. And then in the middle, you add the branch, and then you add some additional smaller leaf around it. Right? It will come out a branch of leaf more natural than one leaf. Right? Okay, then when you do the branches are also you see here, right, on top is below you have some more complex leaf, right, but on top that's much more simpler and just left and right, see, not much lighter leaf on the top. Yeah. This is 1972. 1972 we did the paint. Great. All right, so okay. So we are going to do the second one. Okay, good.
What paper are you using? Square, round?
Yeah, again the we are using 这边应该是生的，有点好像比较好。其实那个长的也是生的，但是确实没有那么多花销。So we use the square one. Yeah, for this panda. Initially, I start a long one. It's too long, or somehow it will be too empty on top. Okay. Oh, so also have the cards already. Okay. But for the cards, I think this one, my one is half raw. That one is more raw. Raw side of it, which is right. So we can start this one. How we go with the eyes? How you want to go with the eyes? You want to go with the nose? Or it's all okay. So we go with the eyes first. So from here, going up, down, and coming back. Yeah, clear. Then the other side, coming down, also going up and down, right? But this side, you need to take note for panda, right? On the other side, when we're painting the eyes, this one, the lines and the nose here, right? They actually come out. The nose is actually sticking out, so usually you have a one line. Right. So you can have the nose. Just under. This one you might wonder how come he didn't paint the eyeballs for the panda. At the time for big xie, right, we can't paint the eyes. For gongbi or for smaller xie, usually we want to paint the eyes. Right. Now we can switch to a bit lighter ink. Up here, right, we're adding the mouth. And then on the side, up here, lighter one up, going up, coming down, face, and then coming back. This side also from here, right? Usually for the ear, you can skip. No need to actually draw the whole lines. Right, then on the side from here, actually coming down. Yeah. Okay. Right, and then after that, right, how actually do the body. If you want to try, you can actually do directly under that. After you put the arms in. Right. I switch back to the black ink. The top here. Right here. The other side. This one, some classmates ask, there is basically meaning that you paint very fast. It's actually not. So those you are looking at, they paint very fast. Normally, the painting they have done, many times before. So it's not that you must go very fast and then the speed is not. So you can actually go the 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 the, the front paw. Up, coming to the side and fill in a little. And the other side. So the same thing when you're painting the panda, you can also get the rocks, rough outline. In the lower side neck. Now this type of painting, usually some questions are, do I need this, the panda, do I need to drag the whole rock to under? Let's say if I paint my panda smaller, actually no need to drag to the bottom. You can just leave in the center. Later when you color, this part will go like lighter out. So better. So same dark ink, right? So we're getting the texture of the rock first. Just go left and right, some of the texture. A very rough one is okay. No need to be very accurate because for rock, we don't have to. Here's the thing now. See, on the left, then what about the right? Here, all the bamboo coming out from here, right? If you want to just leave it, we can just leave because you cannot paint a bamboo like that very long. So you can just come from the right hand side. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So slowly getting smaller stroke. The inside okay. Come from the knots. That's very important. So you can add if we are using the set you mentioned just now, right? You go 1, 2, right? You go 1, 2. This is one set. Then you have another set under here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here you can all use starting, right? Then we go up here, right? You can have one more. 1, 2. Some of the leaf you want go lighter, you don't want to go lighter, right? The front one we can all go dark, right? Then behind another branch we go lighter. Right, so for this branch we also have those sets, right? So come down 1, 2. This one to the left. 1, 2. Yes. A bigger cross plus a smaller cross. Big cross, small cross. Then we go for another, right, beside this one. 1, 2. 1, 2. Sometimes when you paint it to the back, I see here not enough space for me to do another one. I can just do one big setup. Image 1, 2. 1, 2. Right, now you can come back to add additional leaves, right? So let's say from here in the front, I want one more set, right? And then under there you have some smaller leaf. See under here, I want one more. Right, then after that, right, you come back and see all these, and you need to connect them inside. If you connect this way, it will look more natural. So as a branch of leaf. On the side also has another smaller branches. So here coming in. Right, then this one you don't need to do the set. You can more like we are just doing some leaf. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3. Right, here you want to add a little more also can. So smaller leaf in the center. Right. And after that, we use lighter ink to do the lighter branch behind. So lighter branch, lighter 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for the lighter one, I don't need to go so many leaf, so more like that one left. Just build the leaf according to your branch. Some lighter one. Then we can come back for the stones under here. Can have a bigger one. When we do, let's say you are learning from this masters for big 写意, so here's the thing: if you are learning for smaller 写意, try to go more accurate as the original. If you go for big 写意, right, not trying to go exact like the original, but is actually to try to make the painting have the feelings of what you express. Now again, right? We can for the card usually it will be drying faster. So you can actually go after you paint, you can go color. For the rice paper, it will be slower. So getting a bit lighter, get a bit lighter brown color plus a little ink inside. Get brown, right? Then we come back here, and color. The bottom one is like this. If you're trying to lighten up, right now, depending on your brush, right? Let's say my brush bottom is lighter. So what I'm gonna do, use bottom of my brush, roughly do a little bit and outlining at the bottom. That's it. If your bottom of the brush, sometimes when you use ink, right, bottom of the brush you might accumulate more ink, then you might need to switch back to the tip of the brush to get lighter at the bottom. But the main thing now, do not draw a complete lines there or very dark. And now this part also, after we done this all the stones, right? I feel maybe the stone I want a little darker. Right? So here I can add some dots. Traditional painting for stones we said we want a little smudging. Now for the raw and the half raw paper, a lot of times, right? Even you have using the half raw. For my one, this one is half raw. You want to achieve some raw paper effect, right? You can actually do it by, let's say certain part you want some more smudging. You can wipe that part first and then paint on top. It will also have a very nice smudging effect. But overall, right, if you for big CE, using raw rice paper, is a good choice. Good. This should also finish and stop. Great. Nice. Yeah, so also finish. Very good. I think both through and Esther do a very good kind of pen. I think for Zuo Ren, as I mentioned, his painting is very Chinese look, a lot in, and it's not very, how to say, complex. That means, like we're painting other type of, because also the subject is painting is also simple. But it's actually a very good practice. Offline, you want to paint more panda, the goldfish, the camel, even the, uh, so his way, Zuo Ren, is actually when I learned Chinese painting, during a certain period, not my original teacher, but another teacher, he actually taught us a lot of Florence painting at the time. Um, at the time, you don't feel very challenging, but uh, you paint for some time, and it will actually help you better understanding the big city, right? How we do big city, how we use simpler and smaller stroke, right? And this type of painting, you can always go up big size rice paper, and you try bigger brush, like this size, or some of the brush, and even go this size to paint a bigger rice paper spacey. It will look very good. I guarantee you. The similar one we do in smaller size, in large, bigger size. It's very good. So I would actually, for the whole master class, this class I would actually recommend you practice more, right? After the class at home, right? You can, based on the ones I sent to you, or you want to Google a little bit. But you need to remember to, because a lot of people copy his painting. You need to look at the signature line. I think also for Su, because it's some Chinese reading. If you see the signature line, this one is his name, Zuo Ren. Zuo Ren. It must have these two characters. It's his original name. Of course, there will be, you see, Wu, his seal is this way, Wu Zuo Ren in, like this way. So not like our, like we go down there, right? He's actually going this way. So to separate his painting from the ones who copied him, you can actually do this. When you look at this one, normally the first one, Zuo Ren, or his name, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, now for his painting, fake painting, I still have because his painting, I think in the social B when they do the bidding and selling, some more expensive like 20 million up to 20 million. Some of the Chinese painting goes to very high price. There are people copying, but most what I see right now is people copy his painting, but they will write a signature line as their own name. So basically copying the style. His original painting, he actually left a lot of paintings, but most of his painting was collected by China, the government, and some actually in the US. I think so. If you travel to the New York or Esther go to the US, right? You can go to the Metropolitan Museum of Arts in New York. They also have his Chinese painting collected. So, San Francisco also have Asian Art Museum, National Art Museum, China in Beijing. So AA was highly, considered a very good Chinese painter. Okay, now today, for the writing, what do we write? You see, for his painting, he didn't write anything. Also, the signature line, he didn't write traditional form. That means, normally we say this year is Yin Yin, right? You see what he wrote? He wrote 1972. You know why he write this way? Actually, a lot of Chinese painters during his period are all write this way. It's because the Cultural Revolution. So you can't go back to very, very traditional way because the time, Mao Zedong, they consider you are, still keeping the old things. This, so the time you might see a lot of them writing in the normal way, 1972. But after that, we might see they will return back to them. But for this generation of the artists, they experienced the cultural revolution, or most of them writing in the normal. But the whole painting, there's no title. This painting doesn't have title. But if you look at his other painting, he used what? He is using the drawn style. This one is the ones we use to carve seals. Use this one to write title. This also, you know, the Wu Changshuo, we showed, but the Wu Changshuo's painting, he doesn't also write, he just write a lot of things. But he also like to use this. You see that out of 10 artists we learned, 3 of them, the last name is Wu. Very popular name for Chinese artists. So today we can write for this Chinese painting the title, right, for panda. You can write, let's say some what a very freedom or 自在, all those, right? It's actually you can. Some you can write, let's say first one we write one option of the title, 自在, right? That means very free. So 自 means self, right? Then 在 belong. 自在 means 也是自由自在的 very free, very enjoyable, right? Then we can also write another title, that's this one. We call it you, and then 在. This one is something that we also use to describe, you know, somebody who's very free, enjoying themselves, or right. And then if you want a long one, or you can use another one that is called 怡然自乐. 怡 then自 乐. This means very peaceful, very happy. And write which one you like. I think if you want this one, you can also combine. That means 悠哉自在. This you put these two under this one. You can also have a 4 character. And then, or you want to go for this one, it's okay. This one, or this one, also can. So one of I think 怡然自乐 is better. This one.
So it's the top right hand corner.
Yeah, we can
and,
write on here. Yes. Or
and what about our
another,
name and all that? No.
yeah, we can write let's say we are now if you look at the whole painting here, right? If we are writing on the top right, what happens is we kind of have more dark on the top, so we can actually go down a little bit here, right here, and then we write the name here, right? So we're writing here, right? The 怡然自乐, this side.
Can you zoom in a bit more, please?
Yeah. Right, 怡然自乐. Then you can write the signature line. So, this one also here when we writing because right, usually we say 岁次岁在 somehow you don't want to write the 次 or 在 also correct. Last time because I think one classmate saw one of my parents. Teacher, you miss one character here. There's no 岁次. I just write 岁辛丑. That's actually correct. So 岁代表year, 年哪一年. So you don't want to write the 在 right? You can also directly for the year. This is 年. If you don't want to write all these, you just chalk. So my brush not working well, it's fitting. Now that this way, yeah. Then we can write this way. You can cut here, right? Then the other one we can chop to the top left.写意就写的。你如果是小写意的话，工笔也可以。大写意的话不用写。换针的就比较慢一点。换针有没有听过？没有听过换针啊。我们应该是回去查一查。换针是现在它的价钱卖的很高，是啊，一幅画上千万。对，那画些什么东西呢？画人啊，画人啊，画小孩子画牛老子像这些，还有一些国学的东西。是啊。
So if you want your secondary chop, where do you put it?
Yeah, so secondary can go here.
Okay.
Secondary you can use like rocky one, relax, or those peaceful, happy one. Nice. Nice one. Very good.
I wrote with my $1.50 brush. It's terrible. There's no head, no tail, you know.
Is it weasel hair?
Uh,
The
for that
blonde
price,
powder?
probably synthetic.
Oh, the one that, yeah, synthetic cannot write. That's
Yeah.
the problem. They will be too hard, and sometimes it's
Yeah, it doesn't come to a point.
mm, yeah, still need to use animal hair.
Yes.
But the painting very good. I think today you and Esther finished very good painting.
Very fun.
Very fun. Can paint more. I think
Yes.
offline, the crane, the camel, the yak, right? He did all those are very simple but very Chinese. Very good.
I will use my 3-ply raw and then you see the strokes.
Yeah, yeah. So remember to immediately stop the swatching.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we finished today earlier, but today is on the 10th class, right? We will have the fun zone. Which one each is more like portrait painting. That one we're gonna go for a little more complex, but still the way he painted is you should learn, right? You should know that there is such person. His painting also right now he's still alive. He's a professor of my university when I was in China. Very good. So yeah. So today we finish here, right?
Okay.
And then see you next week.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Yeah.